Emma Harrison stood in line with 39 other students as Commander Nathan walked past them. The commander did not smile. He did not nod. He looked at each person like he was measuring what they were worth. When he reached Emma, he paused for 1 second, then moved on. She was ranked 40 out of 40. The Earth Academy was not a school like other schools. It was a military training facility where humans and aliens trained together to become soldiers and diplomats for the Galactic Council. The academy sat on a high plateau in Colorado, far from cities and far from people who might ask questions. Emma had come here because she had nowhere else to go. Her family was broken. Her future was broken. But she had nowhere else to go. The academy had taken her anyway. Emma's room was on the lowest level of the dormitory. The ceiling was short. The walls were gray. Her roommate was a human girl named Lauren, who was ranked 5th in their class. Lauren was tall and had muscles that showed even when she was sleeping. She did not talk to Emma much. There was no point. Everyone knew that Emma would leave within a month. The first week was simple tests. Physical tests. Mental tests. The academy wanted to see what each student could do. Emma ran the course in the worst time. She lifted the lightest weight. She answered the questions too slowly. The aliens watched with their different eyes and their different faces. Some aliens had no faces at all, just shapes and colors that moved and thought. They all looked at Emma the same way, with nothing, with no hope. On the 5th day, the instructors brought all 40 students to a large open ground. There was nothing on this ground but one thing, a hammer. It was made of metal that did not look like any metal on Earth. It was black and shone like water. The head of the hammer was the size of a human skull. The handle was 3 feet long. It was lying on the ground like it was sleeping. A Valorian named Kess stepped forward. The Valorians were the strongest species in the Galactic Council. They had 4 arms and gray skin and eyes that burned like fire. Kess was the ranked 1st in the academy. He was also the biggest student in the academy. His shoulders were wider than a door. Kess walked to the hammer and picked it up with 2 of his arms. He did not pick it up. He tried to pick it up. His face changed. His eyes burned brighter. He pulled harder. The hammer did not move. Kess pulled until his muscles looked like they were going to break through his skin. He pulled until he made a sound like pain. Then he let go and walked away. The hammer was still on the ground. An instructor spoke. Her name was Vex, and she was from a species that looked like moving ice. She said the hammer was gravity-locked. It had been made by a dead race 10,000 years ago. No one knew why they made it. No one knew why they locked it the way they locked it. Many strong people had tried to lift it. Many strong people have failed. The hammer was a test of something, but no one knew what. Vex said that lifting the hammer meant something. It meant you were different. It meant you were special. It meant the academy would send you somewhere important. It meant you would not stay in the academy as a normal student. Then Vex looked at the 40 students. She said that this class was the worst class in 5 years. She said that half of them would not make it past the first month. She said that one of them might leave the academy in glory. The rest would leave in shame. Emma did not raise her hand. She did not ask questions. She just watched the hammer sit on the ground. She watched it and thought, after the training was done, Emma found herself standing alone near the hammer. No one else was there. She walked closer. The hammer was heavy. She could feel its weight from 3 feet away, like it was pushing the air down. She reached out but did not touch it. She wanted to understand it. Derek found her there. Derek was ranked 8th. He had muscles too, but not like Kess. He had the kind of muscles that came from working out every day and thinking about working out every night. Derek smiled at Emma like he was smiling at something funny. He said, "You looking at the hammer, girl from nowhere?" You thinking you can lift what Cass cannot lift. That is the funniest thing I have heard all week. Emma did not answer. She did not look at Derek. She kept looking at the hammer. Derek said, "Your family is broken, yes? I heard about your family. I heard why you came here. You came here because you had no place else to go. The academy took you because they were feeling kind, because they wanted to see if a broken girl could become less broken." Emma turned to look at Derek. She said, "I came here because I wanted to." Derek laughed. He said, "No, you came here because you were running. There's a difference." Then he walked away. Emma stood alone again with the hammer. She thought about what Derek said. Maybe he was right. Maybe she was running. But running towards something was not the same as running away from something. She did not know which one she was doing, but she knew that the hammer meant something. She knew that lifting it meant something. She knew that she had come to this place to find out what. The sun went down. The sky turned orange and then red and then black. Emma was still standing there. Her legs hurt. Her body was tired. She had trained hard for 5 days, and her body was not ready for the training. But she stood there and looked at the hammer. She looked at its shape. She looked at how it sat on the ground. She looked at where it made the grass darker. A voice said, "You should go rest." Emma turned. It was an alien. The alien had a body made of light that was blue and cold. His name was Crix. He was an instructor from a species that the Academy did not have a name for in any human language. Crix taught patience and thinking. Not many students liked his class, but Emma did. Crix said, "The hammer will still be here tomorrow, and the day after. It has been here for 10,000 years. It will wait for you." Emma asked, "Do you think I can lift it?" Crix did not answer. Not right away. He looked at the hammer for a long time. Then he said, "I think that you are not thinking about this the right way. The hammer is not about lifting. The hammer is about something else. But you will have to find out what that something else is. And you will have to find it in your own way." Then Crix walked away. Emma went back to her room. Lauren was already sleeping. Emma lay in the dark and thought about what the hammer meant. She thought about being ranked last. She thought about Derek and Cass and all the others. She thought about her broken family and the broken life that brought her here. Then she thought about the hammer. And she made a decision. She would lift it. She did not know how, but she would find out how, because there was nothing else left for her to do, because the hammer was the only thing in the academy that she wanted to understand. Emma was in the physical training room when her body gave out. She had been working on the gravity weights for 30 minutes. The weights were meant to help students get stronger. They pressed down with the force of 10 normal earth weights. Emma could only handle them for short times. Her arms were shaking. Her legs were shaking. Then her shoulder gave a sharp pain, and she stopped. It was the same shoulder. The old injury. 2 years ago, Emma's family ran a mining operation in Colorado. They dug for metals and rare materials deep under the ground. Emma worked there after school and on weekends. Her father was the owner. Her mother worked in the office. Her brother worked the machines. It was a family business, and it kept them alive, and not much more than alive. Then the accident happened. A support beam fell. Emma was standing under it. She pushed her brother out of the way and took the beam across her shoulder instead. The beam was heavy. It was made of metal, and it broke her shoulder and several ribs. She was in the hospital for 3 weeks. The doctor said she would never use her arm right again. They said her shoulder was damaged in a way that could not be fully fixed. After Emma left the hospital, her father was angry. He was angry at the mining company. He was angry at the equipment makers. He was angry at the world. He started drinking. He drank every day. Then he stopped coming home. Then he left. Emma's mother tried to keep the business going, but could not. The bank took everything. Her mother found a job at a grocery store making minimum money. Emma's brother found jobs doing construction and never came home anymore. Emma's mother said, "You should rest. Your shoulder needs to heal." But Emma did not want to rest. Resting meant thinking. Thinking meant remembering. So Emma took a test for the academy. She did not tell anyone. She took the test and she did not study and she did not try very hard. She thought they would reject her. But they accepted her. They said they wanted to see if she could heal through training. They said that the academy had medical technology that could help her shoulder. They said that sometimes the best healing comes from pushing your body to do things it thinks it cannot do. Emma's mother said, "Do not go." Emma went anyway. That was 8 months ago. Now Emma sat on a bench in the training room and held her shoulder. A voice said, "You are hurt again." It was Kevin. He was ranked 12 in the class. He was a normal human from California. He had brown hair and brown eyes and looked like any human you would see in any city on Earth. He did not look like the kind of person who should be ranked 12 at the academy. But he was smart, and he worked hard, and he did not give up. Kevin sat next to Emma. He said, "I saw you training yesterday. I saw you training the day before. You are training too hard. Your body cannot take this." Emma did not answer. She did not know what to say. She did not know Kevin very well. Kevin usually kept to himself. He had never talked to her before. Kevin said, "I know about your injury. Everyone knows. It is not a secret. The academy tells everyone because they want to see if you will quit. They think it is funny to watch you struggle." Emma said, "I will not quit." Kevin said, "I know. That is why I'm talking to you. Because you will not quit, and because you are doing something wrong with your training, but you do not know what it is." Emma looked at Kevin. She asked, "What do you mean?" Kevin said, "The hammer. You are studying the hammer, yes? You go to the field every night when everyone is sleeping. You walk around the hammer. You look at it. You touch the ground around it. I have seen you." Emma's heart beat faster. She said, "No one is supposed to know." Kevin said, "I know because I do the same thing. Not with the hammer. With other things. I study gravity locks. I study old alien technology. I study things that the academy does not teach because the academy thinks that only very smart students should study those things. But I study them anyway." He paused. Then he said, "The hammer responds to force. Everyone tries force. But force is not the answer. There's something else. Something about how the force moves. Something about how intention and physical movement connect together." Emma said, "How do you know that?" Kevin said, "I do not know. I think it. But I have been reading old books about human history. About martial arts and meditation and things that humans knew a long time ago. I think the hammer was made by aliens who studied humans. I think they knew something about humans that we forgot." Emma said, "What did they know?" Kevin said, "Flow, the state where your mind and body work together as one thing. Where you do not think. You just do. Aliens have science and technology, but humans have something else. We have the ability to enter flow. We can move without thinking about moving. We can understand without learning. I think the hammer wants that from us." Emma did not know what to say. Kevin was talking about things that made no sense. But they also made perfect sense. She thought about when she was working in the mining operation. Sometimes she would work for hours and not think about it. Her hands would move and her body would move, and she would be somewhere else. Maybe that was flow. She said, "How do I learn that?" Kevin said, "I do not know. But I have been practicing. And I think I'm getting closer. And I think if someone helped me study the locked areas of the academy, I could understand it better." Someone like you who's not afraid to break rules. Emma looked at Kevin. She saw that he was serious. She saw that he had thought about this carefully. She said, "Why me?" Kevin said, "Because you have nothing to lose. You are ranked last. Everyone expects you to fail. So you are free to try things that no one else will try." Emma thought about this. She thought about being ranked last and what that meant. Kevin was right. She had nothing to lose. But she also had something to gain. She had a reason to find the answer. Maybe everyone else had given up on her, but she had not given up on herself. She said, "Okay, I will help you." Kevin smiled. It was the first time Emma had seen him smile at her. It changed his face. It made him look young and not scared. He said, "We have to be careful. If the instructors find out, they will send us away." Emma said, "Then we will not be careful. We will be smart." Over the next 2 weeks, Emma and Kevin spent their free time in the Academy's restricted archives. The archives were kept in a locked room below the main building. Kevin knew how to access the lock because he had studied the Academy's security systems. They would sneak down late at night when no one was watching. They would read files and take notes and understand pieces of things that no other students were supposed to understand. They found documents about the hammer's makers. The dead race that had created it 10,000 years ago was called the Architects. The Architects had studied many species. They had learned about human neurology. They had learned about how human brains work differently from alien brains. They had made the hammer as a test for a specific human trait. The documents did not say what the trait was, but they said it was important. They said the Architects had predicted that humans would be special in the galaxy. They had made the hammer to identify the humans who were most special. One night, Emma found a file about the gravity lock mechanism itself. It was written in old mathematical language. Kevin could not read it, but Emma could. She had been good at mathematics before the accident. She had stopped after her family fell apart. But now, looking at the equations, it came back to her. She understood what the equations meant. They described a system that responded not to force, but to resonance. The hammer wanted its lifter to be in harmony with its frequency, like two waves meeting and moving together instead of against each other. Emma said, "That is why everyone fails. They push against it, but you have to push with it." Kevin said, "How do you push with something that is pushing back?" Emma said, "You do not push. You flow. You move with the force that is already there. You become part of the system instead of trying to control the system." Kevin looked at Emma with surprise. He said, "You understand now?" Emma said, "I think I do." That night, Emma went to bed and dreamed about the hammer. She dreamed about it moving in her hands like it was alive. She dreamed about being one thing with it instead of two things fighting each other. And in the dream, it was easy. In the dream, she lifted it without effort because there was no effort. There was only flow. Emma started training in the early morning before anyone woke up. She would go to an empty courtyard behind the academy and practice things that no other student practiced. She would stand in one place and breathe. She would move very slowly through positions that she had learned about from books in the restricted archives. The books called these positions Tai Chi and Qigong. They were human practices from thousands of years ago. Most people thought they were just for relaxation, but Emma understood that they were ways to teach your body and mind to move together as one dot at first. It felt strange. She would stand there for an hour and nothing would happen. Her legs would hurt. Her mind would wander. She would think about her family and her broken shoulder and her broken life. But Kevin had told her to not give up. Kevin had told her that flow was not something you found quickly. Flow was something you built slowly, like building a house one brick at a time. After 2 weeks, something changed. Emma was standing in a position called the horse stance. In this position, Your legs are bent and your arms are up like you are holding something. You are supposed to stand this way without moving for as long as you can. Most people can only do it for a few minutes. Emma was trying to do it for 30 minutes. After 25 minutes, her legs were burning. Her mind was screaming at her to stop. But then something happened. The pain stopped being pain. It became something else. It became information. It became a message from her body that was separate from her thoughts. She understood that her body was strong enough. Her mind was the only thing holding her back. She stopped fighting her mind. She let the pain exist without resisting it. And suddenly, she could stand there. She could stand there and breathe and be calm while her body was working harder than it had ever worked. When she finished the exercise, she was crying. She did not know why, but she was crying and her body was shaking, and she felt something inside her that had been broken was starting to heal. She found Kevin and told him what happened. Kevin nodded. He said, "You found the edge. The place between your body's limits and your mind's limits. That is where flow lives." Emma spent the next 3 weeks training in secret. She practiced the breathing exercises. She practiced the slow movements. She practiced standing and sitting and walking in ways that forced her body to be aware of every small thing it was doing. Her muscles got sore. Then they got used to it. Then they got stronger. But more than her muscles got stronger, her mind got clearer. She could think about things and not get distracted by her emotions. She could feel pain and fear and still move forward at the same time. Emma and Kevin continued to study the restricted archives. They found more documents about the architects. They found out that the architects had visited Earth 12,000 years ago. They had studied human beings. They had been interested in something that humans had that no other species had. The documents called it adaptability. The architects said that humans could do things in new ways that they had never done before. Most species did things one way and could not change. But humans could change. Humans could learn. Humans could see a problem and find a solution that did not exist before. The architects had made the hammer to test for this adaptability. They believed that the hammer could only be lifted by a human who had learned to use human adaptability in a way that no other species could use it. The documents said that the architects had made many tests like this on many worlds. But most species could never pass the tests. Most species did not have the right kind of minds. Only humans had the right kind of minds. Emma showed the documents to Kevin. Kevin read them 3 times. Then he said, the architects believed that humans were special. They built the hammer as a test to find the special ones. Emma said, "But I am ranked last. How can I be special if I am ranked last?" Kevin said, "Because they are measuring the wrong things. They are measuring strength and speed and the ability to use alien technology. But the hammer does not care about those things. The hammer cares about something that no teacher here has learned how to measure." Emma said, "What if I cannot do it? What if I understand how it works, but I cannot make my body do it?" Kevin said, "Then you will fail. But that is not your problem to solve right now. Your problem right now is to prepare. Prepare your body. Prepare your mind. Prepare your spirit. When the time comes, you will be ready or you will not be ready. But you will not know until you try." Commander Nathan found them in the archives on a night when they were not careful enough. He came down the stairs and saw them reading files that were marked with red symbols, meaning restricted. Nathan did not say anything. He just looked at Emma and Kevin standing there with books and papers spread on the table. Then he said, "Come with me." They thought they were going to be expelled. They walked behind Nathan to his office. They thought about how they would go home. They thought about how their families would be disappointed. But when they got to his office, Nathan closed the door and he said, "Tell me what you are doing." Emma spoke first. She told him about the hammer. She told him about her theory that the hammer responded to flow, to harmony, to a kind of human thinking that no alien species had. She told him about the architect's documents. She told him about all of it. Nathan listened without interrupting. When Emma was done, he said, "You know that this information was restricted because the Academy did not want students to know about it before they were ready," Emma said. "I know." Nathan said, "You also know that training without proper instruction is dangerous. You could injure yourself more. You could fail in ways that hurt you," Emma said. "I know." Nathan looked at her for a long time. Then he said, "But you understand something that most students will never understand. You understand that the test is not about what the Academy thinks it is about. You understand that the hammer has a message, and you are trying to listen to it." He paused. Then he said, "I cannot officially permit what you are doing, but I also will not stop you. Continue your training, but be smart about it. Do not break your body. Do not push so hard that you destroy yourself. The Academy has medical technology. Use it when you need it," Emma said. "Thank you, sir." Nathan said, "Do not thank me. Just do this. Just attempt the hammer when you are ready. Show the Academy what a last-ranked student can do." After that, Emma trained harder. She trained with purpose. She was no longer practicing in secret shame. She was practicing with permission, even if the permission was silent. She could feel something building inside her, something that was not just strength. It was clarity. It was purpose. It was the feeling of her entire being moving toward one goal. One night, she went to the field where the hammer was kept. It was very late. Everyone was sleeping. Emma stood before the hammer and she closed her eyes. She thought about everything she had learned. She thought about the architects and flow and human adaptability. She thought about her family and her broken shoulder and her broken life. She thought about how she had come to this place to find something that she did not know how to name. Then she opened her eyes and she breathed. She thought about reaching out to the hammer. But instead of reaching out, she reached in. She reached into herself and found the place where her mind and body were already one thing. She found the place where she was not Emma fighting against the world. She was Emma moving with the world, breathing with the world, being part of the world. She knew she was ready. The question was not whether she could lift a hammer. The question was when she would tell everyone that she was ready to try. The Academy held its quarterly demonstration on a day when the weather was clear and the sun was high. All the students gathered in the main arena. The arena was a large circle of stone with a raised platform in the middle. On the platform was the gravity-locked hammer. The hammer sat there like it always sat there, waiting unmoved, untouched. The students sat in rows according to their ranking. The highest-ranked students sat in the front. Emma sat in the very back. No one spoke to her. No one looked at her. She was like a shadow that happened to be in the same place as people, but was not part of them. Commander Nathan stood on the platform. Next to him was Vex, the ice-like instructor. Next to Vex was Crix, the light-being instructor. There were also instructors from the Galactic Council. They had come to watch the demonstration. They wanted to see which students had improved. They wanted to see which students had potential. Nathan spoke. He said, "Today our students will be tested. Today they will show what they have learned. The first test is strength. The first test is the gravity-locked hammer. Any student who believes they can lift this hammer may attempt it." The demonstrations began. The highest-ranked students went first. Kes, the Valorian, was called to the platform. The crowd watched as Kes walked to the hammer. Kes had trained for 3 months since last time he had attempted it. He was bigger now. He was stronger now. He looked at the hammer like he believed this time he would succeed. Kes grabbed the hammer with 2 of his 4 arms. He braced himself. His muscles tensed. He pulled upward with all his strength. The hammer did not move. Kes pulled harder. His face burned red with effort. His sounds of strain echoed across the arena. But the hammer stayed on the ground. After 1 minute, Kes released it and walked away. He had failed again. Other strong students attempted it. A human named Victor who was ranked 3rd. A Krell species who was ranked 6th. A tall alien whose species named humans could not pronounce who was ranked 2nd. All of them tried. All of them failed. The hammer sat on the ground and accepted no one. The demonstrations continued for an hour. Most students attempted it and failed. Some students did not attempt it at all. They knew they would fail, and they did not want to fail in front of everyone. Emma understood. Failure was permanent. If you failed at something public, everyone remembered. If you did not try, then no one knew you had lost. Commander Nathan was about to end the demonstrations when Emma stood up. She stood up from her seat in the very back. She stood up and she began walking toward the platform. The other students turned to look. All 40 of them turned to look at the girl who was ranked last. The instructors turned to look. The council members turned to look. Emma did not run. She did not hurry. She walked slowly and calmly to the platform. When she reached the platform, Nathan looked at her with an expression that was not surprise, but also not disapproval. He said, "You wish to attempt the hammer, Emma?" Emma said, "Yes, Commander." Nathan said, "You understand that you will likely fail. You understand that this failure will be seen by everyone here." Emma said, "Yes, Commander." Nathan said, "Then you may attempt it." Emma walked to the hammer. She stood before it. The arena was completely silent. Every student was watching. Every instructor was watching. Even the aliens from the Galactic Council were leaning forward. Emma did not grab the hammer. That was the first difference. She stood near it, and she closed her eyes. She breathed. She felt her body. She felt the ground beneath her feet. She felt the air around her. She felt the hammer's weight like it was a sound that she could hear in her mind. She thought about flow. She thought about the architects. She thought about how humans were different from other species. She thought about how her broken family and her broken shoulder and her broken wife had led her to this place to learn a thing that no one else could teach her. Then she opened her eyes. She reached out with both her hands. But she was not reaching to grab. She was reaching to join. She was reaching to become part of the hammer instead of separate from it. She thought about the gravitational field that blocked it. She thought about moving with that field instead of against it. She thought about how her body and mind were one thing, and the hammer was one thing, and there was no difference between them. She pulled upward. But pulling was the wrong word. She moved. She moved, and the hammer moved with her. She moved slowly, smoothly, like she was dancing with someone she had danced with her entire life. The hammer rose. It rose from the ground. It rose past her knees. It rose past her waist. It rose to her chest. She held it there, and she was breathing, and she was calm. The arena erupted. Students screamed. Instructors stood. The council members stood. Kevin was on his feet with tears running down his face, screaming Emma's name over and over. Lauren, Emma's roommate, was standing with her mouth open. Derek, the student who had mocked her, looked like he could not believe what he was seeing. Emma held the hammer for 10 seconds. Then she lowered it gently back to the ground. It settled softly, without noise, without force. Emma stepped back. Commander Nathan stood very still. Then he began to clap. 1 clap, 2 claps, 3 claps. The other instructors joined him. Then the students joined them. The entire arena was clapping. Emma had done what no one else could do. Emma had lifted the gravity-locked hammer. Nathan called Emma back to the platform. He stood before her and he said, What you have done today is remarkable. You have shown us something that we did not expect to see." Emma said, "Thank you, Commander." Nathan said, "But you also broke Academy rules. You accessed restricted areas. You trained without proper supervision. These are serious violations." Emma's hope died. She had lifted the hammer, but she was still going to be expelled. She had succeeded, but she was still going to lose. Nathan said, "However, I am recommending that you not be expelled. I am recommending that you be promoted to a special program, a program that exists outside normal Academy rules, a program for students who show what you have shown." Vex stepped forward. She said, "The Galactic Council wishes to speak with you. We have a purpose for someone like you. Someone who can think like a human thinks. Someone who can do what humans can do." Crix stepped forward. He said, "You understood the message. You understood what the architects were trying to tell us. You became harmony instead of force." Emma did not know what to say. She had come to the Academy thinking she was broken and useless. She had come thinking she was worth nothing. But now she understood. Being last ranked had been a disguise. Being underestimated had been an advantage. Because no one had thought to stop her. No one had thought to prevent her from discovering the truth. Derek approached her after the demonstration ended. He did not mock her. He did not laugh. He just said, "I was wrong about you." Emma said, "Yes, you were." Derek walked away. He did not apologize. He did not need to. He had said what mattered. Kevin grabbed Emma and hugged her. He said, "I knew you could do it. I always knew." Emma said, "We knew together. I could not have done it without you." They stood there in the arena with everyone watching. Emma was no longer the last-ranked student. She was the student who had lifted the gravity-locked hammer. She was the student who had learned something that no one else had learned. She was the student who had become different. But more importantly, she was the student who had become herself. Emma was taken to a room that she had never seen before. It was at the top of the Academy building, high above everything else. The room had windows that looked out over the Colorado Plateau. In the distance, she could see mountains. In the distance, she could see sky that went on forever. In the room were 5 people. Commander Nathan was there. Vex and Crix were there. There were also 2 aliens she had never seen before. One was very old. The other was very young. The old one spoke first. The old alien said, "I am Counselor Zeros. I represent the Galactic Council. I have traveled 8,000 light years to see you lift this hammer. But I did not travel that far to watch you lift a hammer. I came because the Council knew you would lift it. The Council has been waiting for you." Emma said, "I do not understand." Vex said, "The hammer was never truly a test of strength. It was a test of selection. The architects built it 10,000 years ago. But they did not build it as a challenge. They built it as a search for the humans who possessed a specific kind of thinking." Crick said, "The architects were a species that conquered many worlds. But they made a prediction. They predicted that one day, humanity would become important to the galaxy. They predicted that humans would be valuable not because they were strong or advanced in technology, but because they thought in a way that no other species thought." Emma said, "What way is that?" Counselor Zero said, "Adaptability, imagination, the ability to find new solutions to old problems, the ability to understand other species, even when they are very different from you. These are human traits. Every human has these traits somewhere inside them. But most humans never develop them. Most humans live normal lives and never discover what they are truly capable of." The young alien stepped forward. She said, "The Council created the Academy to find the humans who had developed these traits to the highest level. The Council created the gravity-locked hammer as a test. A test that only a certain kind of human could pass. A test that required not strength, but understanding. A test that required not force, but harmony. Emma said, "So the hammer was always about humans? It was always about finding someone like me?" Nathan said, "The hammer was made 10,000 years ago by a dead race. The Academy was built 500 years ago by the Galactic Council. The hammer was put in the Academy 100 years ago. It has been waiting ever since. Waiting for a human to be born who could lift it. Waiting for a human like you." Counselor Zero said, "The Valorian Empire is expanding. They believe that strength is the only thing that matters in the galaxy. They believe that the strongest species should rule all others. We have tried to stop them through force. But force cannot defeat force. You cannot win a war by fighting a war." Emma said, "Then how do you win?" Zero said, "By thinking differently. By finding the solution that no one else sees. The Council believes that humans have this ability. The Council believes that humans can help the galaxy find peace. But not all humans. Only the humans who have learned to listen to themselves the way you have learned to listen to the hammer." The young alien said, "We are offering you a position in the Council's special program. We are offering you the chance to become a diplomat and a negotiator. We are offering you the chance to speak for humanity to the galaxy. If you accept, you will leave the Academy. You will receive training that no other student receives. You will be sent on missions that will shape the future of the galaxy." Emma said, "What if I fail?" Zero said, "Then you will have tried. And trying is already more than most humans ever do." Emma thought about her family. She thought about her broken life. She thought about how she came to the Academy thinking she was broken beyond repair. She thought about how the hammer had taught her that her brokenness was not a weakness. Her brokenness had given her the ability to understand things differently. She said, "I accept." Over the next 3 weeks, Emma prepared to leave the Academy. She was given new uniforms. She was given credentials from the Galactic Council. She was given a communicator that could reach across entire star systems. She was given an identity that was not just a student, but something larger. Kevin was also selected for the special program. When Emma found out, she was happier than she had been in months. Kevin had believed in her when she did not believe in herself. Kevin had helped her find the path to the hammer. Now they would walk the next path together. On her final day at the Academy, Emma went to the field where the hammer was kept. She stood before it one last time. She did not attempt to lift it. She did not try to prove anything. She just stood there and looked at it. She thought about what it meant. She thought about what it had taught her. Crix found her there. Krix said, "You are leaving now." Emma said, "Yes, I am leaving." Crix said, "Before you go, I want to tell you something that I did not tell you before. The hammer is not magic. The hammer is not alive. The hammer is only a test. It is a test of what you believe about yourself. The strongest students tried to lift it with strength. They failed because they believed that strength was the answer. You lifted it because you believed that understanding was the answer. Your belief became your strength." Emma said, "So the hammer shows you what you believe?" Crix said, "The hammer shows you what you are willing to believe. Everyone who comes to the hammer has already failed before they touch it. They have already decided that it is too heavy. You decided that it was not about weight. That decision was your real achievement." Emma said, "Will I ever come back here?" Crix said, "Perhaps. But you will not come back as a student. You will come back as something more. You will come back knowing that you have done things that no one thought you could do. You will come back knowing that being last ranked was not a failure. It was just a place you started from." Emma left the Academy the next morning. She and Kevin were taken by transport to a council station in orbit above Earth. The station was enormous. It helped thousands of species and thousands of individuals. They all worked together for the Galactic Council. They all worked to keep the galaxy at peace. Emma was given a small room. She was given access to files and information about galactic politics and the Valorian threat. She began her training as a diplomat and negotiator. She learned languages. She learned history. She learned how to speak to aliens in ways that made them understand what she was trying to say. But every night, she thought about the hammer. She thought about what Crix had told her. She thought about how her belief had become her strength. She thought about her family and her broken shoulder and her broken life. She thought about how all of that had led her to this place. All of that had made her who she was. All of that had made her valuable in a way that she had never imagined possible. One night, Emma sent a message to her mother. She said, "I am safe. I am working for the Galactic Council. I am helping to build peace in the galaxy. I did not give up like you wanted me to. I came to the academy like I said I would. I found something that I did not know I was looking for." Her mother sent back a message. Her mother said, "I am proud of you. I was wrong to want you to stay. I was wrong to be afraid. You are stronger than I knew. You are stronger than anyone knew." Emma read the message 3 times. Then she deleted it. But she did not delete it from her heart. She kept it there. She kept it with all the other things that had made her who she was. 1 week into her training, Emma was sent on her first assignment. She was sent to a world on the edge of Valorian territory. She was sent to meet with a human colony that was being threatened by Valorian expansion. She was sent to help them understand the danger. She was sent to help them find a way to defend themselves without starting a war. Emma walked onto the transport that would take her to the colony. Kevin was waiting for her. He smiled at her. He said, "Are you ready?" Emma said, "I do not know, but I am going to try." Kevin said, "That is all anyone can do." As the transport lifted off from the station, Emma looked back at Earth. She could see it spinning below her. It was small and blue and beautiful. It was the world where she had been broken. It was the world where she had learned to be whole. It was the world that had given the galaxy a gift. A gift that was her. A human who understood. A human who could think. A human who could change the course of worlds. The transport jumped to light speed. Emma was gone. Emma was on her way to something larger than herself. Emma was on her way to being exactly what the architects had predicted 10,000 years ago. Emma was on her way to being what humanity had always been meant to be. In the academy below, the gravity-locked hammer sat in its field. It waited. It waited for another human to come and learn what it had to teach. It waited for another person to discover that being last ranked was just the beginning. It waited for another person to understand that the strongest force in the galaxy was not force. The strongest force was knowing what you were truly capable of. And somewhere in the distance, in a place that humans had not yet reached, the architects watched. They watched humans step into their purpose. They watched as Emma Harrison, ranked lowest in her class, became the first ambassador for humanity to the stars. They watched as the species they had predicted so long ago finally began to become what they had always known they could become.